Welcome to the Patriot Hour for October 7th, 2019. It's Monday. We got some things to go over here. Folks, again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed down below. Hit the bell. Make sure you are alerted. We go live. We go videos like this. I got other videos. However we can get the information out. Again, don't ever take what we say here to be 100% fact, 100% word. Do your own research. Connect your own dots. And come to your own conclusions based off all of that. We always encourage you to dig for yourself, and anything you find that we say that you don't agree with, come at us with facts down below. We love the comments. We take a look at them. We've had episodes based off of them. So, again, leave a comment. And all right, we're going to jump into an article here. DC Dirty Laundry, airing out America's dirty laundry. What if Trump is really playing 4D chess? And the Ukraine crisis is the biggest, baddest political trap ever set. Just think about that for a minute. Okay, cool. So conspiracy theories are like crime novels. You can create an infinite number of them. And all they require is a plausible plot built from real facts with enough twist to keep them interesting. That's why I don't spend my time trying to discern if any of them are true, though some may be. But now I'm going to write down one of my own. I find it completely plausible, fully in line with all the known facts, and neither more likely nor less likely to be true than all the other conspiracy theories ever told. So this is an opinion article for sure, right? So first, here's the elements I see writing a great conspiracy theory. You must do all you can to work in all the known facts. You take the facts in a direction that you believe people naturally suspicious minds are willing to lead. As a good fantasy needs some willing suspension of disbelief, and you get that by going where people want to go because it's a great ride. You create some interesting plot twist for your big moment that grab the audience's mind. In the best theory, you let your audience make the final leap of logic past the facts where your arrangement of fact is intended to lead. The most solidly believed leap of logic is one listeners make their own, just like in a great con game. In this case, I'm going to reveal my tricks to show you how a conspiracy theory is made credible, enough to find a market share of disciples who will spread it. That's why I'm writing this. Or is it? Trumping all the Democrats in Congress. Let us entertain the prospect that Nancy Pelosi and her entire Democratic side of Congress just walked into the greatest 4D election trap in history. To see how that might happen, and let us consider the trap is not fake, but it is a cluster of real facts that will turn against the Democrats and bury their election hopes. It goes like this. The president's called Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was put on a classified computer for two reasons. One, to lead Democrats to conclude on their own that the president is covering his wrongdoing, the trap's bait. Two, the call included actual information about the president's chief opposition, Joe Biden, that his inner circle now knows to be true, but they don't want Democrats to see just yet. So in a game of 4D chess, a master who understands cons, as Trump surely does, knows that the evidence against Biden will be far more damaging if all of it is brought to the light by the Democrats themselves, making it credible at a level that is virtually impossible for the Dems to deny when they are the ones that wind up disclosing it through their own investigation, an investigation that they cannot easily shut down because they have the whole world expecting to land on some result. What could be present? What could the president know that the Democrats don't know about Joseph Biden? What if the Biden interactions in the Ukraine that were of concern in the phone call had little to do with his son's corporate interest in Ukraine and everything to do with deep state plotting the Obama administration that the Trump is ready to lay bare? A plot to create an insurance policy that would subvert a Trump presidency if Americans did actually elect Trump. So think about that, folks. Do you see what I did there? Threw my first twist to make it intriguing to your mind. But did as I what if you so you can make the conclusion for yourself, not me, which you might have been more apt to do if I hadn't just stopped you. So numerous articles have been written in the past years claiming that the Obama administration, where am I here? So the numerous articles have been written in the past years claiming that the Obama administration backed a coup against Ukraine's democratically elected leader who was too friendly with Russia to suit America military-industrial complex. The coup supported a new president, which is much more friendly to the American interests. If I were writing a conspiracy book, I'd lay out an entire chapter or even several chapters of the mainstream and not so mainstream articles providing details of America's supposed involvement in said coup as a real conspiracy to form the backbone to my own conspiracy theory. Whether that conspiracy theory and intrigue actually happened under the Obama administration, I'm not weighing either for or against right now, but belief that it likely did is essentially to my conspiracy theory. Since I'm not writing a book, I trust that most readers have at least heard the theory in their own readings. This is a part where I'd say I'd lay out the bones of how conspiracy theories are created. If I were actually trying to create a conspiracy theory, or maybe I am, and I'm conning you into believing that I'm not so you make the conclusion on your own. I'd impress you with all the accounts that supports U.S. involvement in a Ukraine coup. The bottom line of the coup conspiracy with Obama administration is that the legitimate coup is Russia's justification for a takeover of Crimea, and Russia's justification for claiming the U.S. as an aggressor around its critical borders. The belief that the U.S. sponsored a coup to overthrow a democratically elected leader because the U.S. only supports democracies when democracies do what is in America's best interest. So maybe the real story with Biden involves 1, how he participated in setting up or supporting a coup. 2, how he later leveraged that support of new government to get parties in the Ukraine to retaliate against Russia by creating the computer hacks that were, for fact, later blamed on Russia. Consider that Ukraine is close to Russia physically, has many Russian people living within its borders, and therefore many people who can write in Russian. There are ample people who, while from Russia, may be self-exiles in the Ukraine from times when Russia was not friendly to their interests. People who might have an abundant reason, ability to conspire, and a sophisticated plot to smear Russia, combine that with the U.S. funding and U.S. technical support, perhaps from the CIA or other U.S. agencies that have their own reasons to undermine Russia. And you can create some credible mirroring on the internet to make it look as if all the hacking of the DNC and other election manipulation was done from Russia by Russia. Yet, you get the new government of the Ukraine's full cooperation in all of that because 1, they wouldn't have come into power without your support of their coup, so they owe you a favor. 2, they still need you to support your support since they are now in a war with Russia. 3, they are outraged by Russia's seizure of Crimea. What's the Obama administration never disclosed to Ukraine is that all of this would be used to subvert the Obama administration's own rival should Trump become president. That it wasn't all just about making Russia look bad after the election, because Ukraine's presumption was that Obama's administration would essentially continue under Joe Biden, or at worst, under Hillary Clinton, if she beat Biden in the primaries. Of course, the new Ukraine government would have considered that the Republicans might win and retaliate if they found out. But they are beholden to the Obama administration for getting them into power in the first place, and desperate for the Obama administration's support now that Russia has decided to fight a war against. And what it sees as legitimate illegitimate government of the Ukraine. The new Ukraine government, and perhaps the Obama administration, had not anticipated the actual military response by Russia. Now that they got one, the upstart government in the Ukraine desperately needed American support. So, of course, the new government cooperated with the Obama administration to get military support, and because it owed it a huge favor to the administration. So this is a pretty interesting article here. We'll finish it up not too much longer, but again, I'll leave the link down below. Make sure you check it out for yourself. So they create a Ukraine-based Russian-tagged hacking operation to turn Russia into a bad guy in order to create the full jurisdiction or justification of the U.S. that it would need before its own electorate to justify aggression against Russia in the form of a higher sanctions, diminished political ties with the rest of the Western world, and most of all, continued military support of Ukraine against Russia, which both Ukraine and U.S. wanted. And now we have the motive, and lots of it. So this story, like we said, is much bigger than just the phone call of Trump or the very beginning thing with Biden. There might not even be much wrong with the Biden thing, other than we know it's bad, it shouldn't happen. If you notice, all these politicians that have been there forever now saying, if I become president, I'll make sure that stops. But nobody stopped it before. And it's just a huge, huge issue. We know now it's more than just Biden's son anyway. So I will ask in return, did the hacking hurt Clinton? Okay, well, I think I missed so you might ask, why would the Obama administration help Ukraine create a Russia-mirrored attack on the DNC, Democratic National Committee, when the attack hurt Hillary Clinton's prospects of getting elected? To create an enduring conspiracy theory, you have to anticipate objections that will be raised against it and answer them before they are asked. I will ask in return, did the hacking hurt the Clinton? What hurt Hillary Clinton was not that the purported Russian hack, but her own sloppy use of email on a personal computer brought it to the full attention of America by America's self-organizing spook, James Comey. It wasn't what Russians did. It was about the fact that she was sloppy. When Comey rang his second brazen public alarm about Hillary's emails not only being in the conspiracy just before the actual election, her poll numbers plunged about 8% overnight. When he came back out a week later and said, nothing to see here, folks, her numbers recovered 6% or 6 percentage points. That still left her down about 2%, which is exactly the amount that she lost by. So Hillary's loss probably had less to do with any Russia hacking than Comey's statements about her emails. Many have suggested that the Russian propaganda, whether put out via a Ukraine campaign to discredit Russia or actually put out by Russia, was minute when measured against all campaign propaganda by the two major parties, and therefore probably limited on impact. The very fact that there wasn't enough to be effective argues the real motive behind it. May it have not been to stop Hillary from being elected, but to have an insurance plan should Trump get elected. So that's the real thing, right? The inner circle of the Obama administration may have felt that they could deal with the limited impact of propaganda against Hillary, while the bigger gain would be in the way that she could use to thwart her competition when the claim was made that Trump was collaborating with Russia. Something we all know to be patently untrue at this point since the Mueller investigation. That was arguably one of the largest investigations in the history, conducted with the help of agencies that claim to be the most potent investigative agencies in the world. Yet, it didn't turn up evidence as big as a speck of the dust proven to those claims. So as the Mueller Inquisition managed to nail down anyone with refusals to cooperate on the Mueller team, and all they have remaining against Trump is obstruction of justice. One can reasonably ask, even if Trump did obstruct the investigation, far from proven, how can it be obstruction of justice if the entire Inquisition was one of the greatest injustices of American history? And that it is attempted for 2 years to undermine and subvert a duly elected American president and his administration with entirely concocted claims for which the accusers never produced a dust mite's lunch worth of evidence. Suppose presently Biden really thinks all Trump has on him is his administration are these talks about that Biden was involved in pressuring the new Ukraine government to take pressure off his son Hunter. a complete nothing burger as far as Biden is concerned. Suppose the Trump administration spent months harping on that and only had that to lead. Biden and other Dems think that it was all they had. Hubris often causes politicians to think their deeply buried secrets are safe because such secrets, guarded by the deep state, usually are. Notice I put deep state in quotes because I am admitting it actually exists. If I were writing a real conspiracy theory, I'd take the quotes off, trusting a part of my audience to just run with their natural bias of believing in the deep state. Thus, they would follow along with my theory, especially if the political bias also runs with Trump, giving me a large audience of potential believers. On the other hand, what if I'm creating a conspiracy theory here and want to put you off guard by pretending I'm not, so you'll think I'm just being objective? What if I want you to leap to the conclusion that I'm being so objective and far-pointing out my tricks that I could not really be creating a 4D conspiracy theory of my own while laying out something credibly enough for you to choose to believe in your own, all the more stronger because you make the leap. Moving right along, this is where we come to the great trap of the Democrats in history as Trump plays 4D chess with all of them. As a president, as a U.S. President of the U.S., Trump would have better access to information about the U.S.-backed coup than anyone in the country. We've been saying that. Think about it. Trump knows nothing. Trump's an idiot. They say that over and over again. But again, they couldn't stop him, and the 2-year investigation led to nothing. If they had anything, it would have leaked. Like everything else, it would be out by now. They would have destroyed him. They couldn't find anything because nothing exists. They're not holding on to anything. Schiff doesn't have anything and is safe at home. Oh, I got personal evidence that he's done something. Well, you held on to it and you waited too long. Unbelievable. So as president of the U.S., Trump would have better access to information about the U.S.-backed coup than anyone in the country. Did you just notice how I went straight to using the definite article, when mentioning the coup in order to turn U.S. sponsorship from supposition about a possible coup to a particular accepted fact? Or am I just tricking you by revealing my tricks into believing what I'm purely objective here? As I was saying, supposing Trump, who has access to information about Obama's involvement in a coup, if such involvement existed, and particularly Biden's involvement in later orchestrating a Ukraine-based fact-hacking operation, if such involvement existed, now's that the most convincing way to bring all this information to the attention of the America is to trick Democrats into being the ones to release it all. Trump and all of his administration knew Democrats are absolutely salivating for the opportunity to impeach him, so they are likely to leap at the next opportunity now that Mueller led them nowhere. So what if Trump made a call to the Ukraine in which he actually did ask for the latest president, just elected in May of this year when Trump's accusations about Biden began in earnest, to reveal information that president's recent election could mean he is not necessarily part to all the foregoing. He might be more easily pressed to release information about Biden that Trump can use. Being desperate for continued military support of its own opponents were involved. What if all the information about Biden is real and proves the Obama administration backed the coup and supported all the fake hacking operations to subvert Trump, and proves Biden was at the center of it all? That would be great. Suddenly, withholding all Ukraine military support so Russia can crash Ukraine becomes perfectly acceptable as a way of strong-arming the new Ukraine government into releasing what it knows, and actually subversive American actions in all of this. Suddenly, it turns into something that is no longer just a reach for mud on Biden, but a revelation, a real subversive deep state behavior that needed to be exposed. Regardless of the fact that there's an election going on, do you think the public at that point is going to be more angry with Trump for going after his opponent, or more disgusted with Biden for covering up all his own subversion, and maybe with Democrats for whatever role the rest of them had in it? Now what if the informants to the whistleblowers are all plants, insiders that Trump and his inner circle used to feed out only the aspects of what they would call trip all the Trump derangement syndrome circuit breakers and all impeachment salvering Democrats into full-blown impeachment, Perhaps that is why notes were used, controlled notes, and not an actual transcript of the entire call. In other words, what if all aspects of the call that contained absolutely true known dirt about Biden were kept confidential, even top secret, since they involved deliberate subversion of a duly elected U.S. government at the top levels in the Democratic Party? What if only bits of the entice were leaked to a person known to be sympathetic to the Democrats and against Trump? Now take that final step for yourself without me spelling it out. What happens when all of the inquiries and the Democrats start making their own impeachment hearings, start turning up this deeper evidence of deep state activity by the Obama administration and subversion of the Trump administration? You do the math as whether revealing this Democratic attack on Trump that makes far more convincing revelation of the fact that Trump has learned than, if not always so credible, or might just I say incredible. Trump puts forward these claims against his opponents. What if, in other words, the Democrats opened Pandora's box they cannot close because no one would ever accept them saying, sorry folks, our bad, nothing to see here? You have to admit the little turn put a little bit of a shiver of excitement up your spine. Or did I just trick you into thinking you made the final leap into thinking how all could play out for the Democrats if the impeachment only turns up us to deeper facts about the deep state and Obama administration's role than most of them are aware even exist? And that, my friends, is why I don't spend time in my economic articles trying to chase down the truth about conspiracy theories, because you can see how easily they are to create your own known facts. You can spend a lot of time trying to figure out which, if any, of them are true, which is why I chose to make my conclusions about where the economy is going based just on the trajectory of the observable events. Or am I just now trying to trick you into believing I would never entertain a conspiracy theory? Just saying. As a safety relief valve of your mind, the truth of falsehoods of this conspiracy theory will be known one way or another by whether or not facts against Biden that go far beyond his son Hunter do come to the surface in the next couple months during the Democrats' inquiries. If they don't, and Republicans don't bring them up, you'll probably go safe into the new year not knowing no such thing ever happened. One thing is for certain: Russian relations were reset all right. So Hillary Clinton reset button, with Russia being pressed by Hillary Clinton and Russian ambassador. So it was an interesting little article, a little long, but there you have it. So we got a lot of facts, a lot of things to look at, folks, coming out. There's so much stuff there. The Glenn Beck thing put it into really good perspective. Everything we've been going over, all the John Solomon reporting, and just into a great timeline. So I suggest they got it broken down now into 14, 20-minute bits of that whole 2 hour, but you'd really need to know the whole thing. And again, it's not so much about the Trump phone call or the Biden son, the beginning. It's everything in between they were doing. And that's everything we've been following and going along with for the last 3 years. Well, a couple years on the channel. Most of us have been following along for a little bit longer than that, for my channel anyway. So again, this is Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. Shut this one down. Keep it short. Keep it sweet. Look for another video here later on this afternoon. We got much more to get into. And again, keep your ears and eyes open, folks. Things are, any minute, we're going to get some kind of D-class. We are in Red October. The hunt for Red October. Where the hunters become the hunted. All right. We've seen a flip of the script, and the narrative is definitely Trump team is on the offense. So something to look forward to. All right. Again, I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour, and we'll see you back here real soon. God bless. Peace.